Before we get into supplements, it is very, very critical that you focus on a whole food nutrition plan, meaning you eat fruits, you don't supplement with a ton of vitamin C unless you need to. You eat your vegetables, you don't try and take supplements because you're not eating vegetables. You don't want to try and do that. Also, too, you want to make sure that of the whole foods that you're eating, it is real food. So if you live on a diet of processed food, fast food, junk food, there is no supplement that's going to help you turn your health around. You have to be eating real food. So even though there are lots of people that are eating organic and they're eating grass-fed and they're eating pastured-raised chickens, there are still some deficiencies due to agricultural and farming practices that are causing deficiencies and lack of nutrients in certain foods. So we're not getting a lot. The big supplement that I want to first share with you is vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is critical. A lot of nutritionists and doctors are now saying you need a minimum of 5,000 international units a day or 125 micrograms a day. Most foods do not have vitamin D, so you cannot eat your way into getting vitamin D, proper vitamin D levels in your blood. Mushrooms do have the highest amount of vitamin D3, however, they are very, very low. You'd have to eat pounds and pounds and pounds of mushrooms even to get a little bit. Sun exposure is the best way for your body to make vitamin D. Vitamin D, the reason why I'm starting with vitamin D is because it's my number one. It is the powerhouse for supporting your immune system. So during cold and flu season, which is a big one in many parts of the world, I'm a firm believer, and I agree with the research validated by Dr. Ryan Cole, is that we don't have a flu season, so to speak, or a cold season. We have a lack of vitamin D season. And once I heard him speak on that, I was sold that is completely 100% accurate in my opinion. And so if we start supplementing with vitamin D in the fall, winter, spring, now if you live north of Atlanta, so if you look at a map or an atlas and you draw a straight line east-west from Atlanta, if you live anywhere north of that, you need to supplement with vitamin D fall, winter, spring. Now, taking more than 5,000 international units of vitamin D, you've got to add vitamin K2 to that combo. And so you're taking D3 and K2 because K2 helps take calcium and put it in your bones. And when you have too much of just a vitamin D3 supplement, it can sometimes take calcium and pull it away from the bones, and that you don't want that. So what I've got in front of me here, and I'm going to be going back and forth getting some supplements to show you, but this is what I use, and you don't worry about the brand, folks. You can get very, very high quality vitamin D3. This is with K2 and also vitamin A, all three fat soluble vitamins. You can get this at any reputable health food store. I think this was fairly inexpensive. This is probably the most inexpensive vitamin for the powerhouse that it is and all the benefits that it has for you. So let me just go through quickly the benefits of vitamin D. It helps with concentration, learning, and memory. It helps support your immune system. So it's vital in protecting you against the development of autoimmune conditions, infections, viruses, less serious as illnesses like the common cold and flu. It's critical. It also helps with your bone health, like I mentioned earlier, with calcium absorption. It facilitates hormone regulation. It helps improve mood. Now, I could go on and on and on. Vitamin D, in my opinion, is the big number one. And if more people started supplementing with vitamin D, there would be way less sick people in the fall, winter, spring. So I know for years, I can tell you a personal story of mine. I used to get really, really sick every fall, like really sick, not just a cold or a flu, but like fever, in bed for a while, sneezing, coughing, hacking, sore throat, the whole 9 yards. And it would persist for weeks, every fall. I can remember, going back to my mid-20s, getting this every single fall, and I couldn't figure out until I got my blood tested and until I talked to the right doctor that basically said, hey, maybe you should supplement with vitamin D in the winter. I think the first fall I didn't get sick was 2015 because I started supplementing with vitamin D3. And ever since then, I have been using vitamin D religiously, basically from late September right through until April. And then as soon as I can get my feet on the grass and I can get sun on my face in the spring, summer, early fall, that's me. And I reduce the amount of vitamin D that I do supplement with. The next supplement we're going to talk about. Now, vitamin D was my number one. These other supplements, I really wouldn't rank them, but they're also extremely important. I do have, my top 3 to 5 that I really enjoy. Vitamin D is always on that list. Another biggie that is on the list is omega-3 or fish oil. Very, very important for your brain health. Remember, folks, your brain is 70% fat, and it helps with your memory centers. And so if you're not eating, on average, 2 servings of cold water fish, not farmed, but cold water fish caught in the wild. If you're not eating at least 2 servings a week, you need to supplement with omega-3. Now, I use Health First. Again, you probably can't see that. It's probably too far away. But I know Dr. Robert Young, he highly recommends Health First. Very, very high quality supplement brand. In here, this is the Omega First Mix Natural Leaven Flamer. Per teaspoon, you're getting 760 milligrams of BPA and 505 milligrams of DHA. So it's a very, very solid teaspoon. Typically for me, because I want my levels to be higher, I typically will have 2 mouthfuls a day, which is probably 4 to 5 tablespoons. So I'm getting, up to 10 times the recommended daily amount, but that's okay. And I also eat fish 2 to 3 times a week, cold water caught fish. So if you are not supplementing with, if you're not eating 2 servings minimum of cold water, not farmed, fresh fish a week, then you need to be supplementing with with omega-3. When you have high or adequate levels of omega-3 in your system, it helps reduce muscle soreness. It helps decrease inflammation. And remember, folks, inflammation is the precursor for most diseases. It opens the door for a lot of bad things to happen. It improves your eye health. It balances the effects of your typical North American consumption of omega-3 fatty acids. Now, omega-3 fatty acids cause inflammation. Your omega-3s typically help reduce inflammation, and it helps counteract that. So say if you're on a typical North American diet and you've got your regular levels of omega-6 and you're not supplementing with omega-3s, you're not eating cold water caught fish twice a week, once you start balancing it out with some really high quality omega-3s, you'll notice that the amount of inflammation in your body will come down over time. So omega-3 is my number 2 on the list. I know I'm a little bit quirky, folks. I will literally unscrew and just guzzle. I don't mind it. I know it's extremely healthy for me. And on the weeks that I might only be getting 1 serving of fish, obviously I'll have a little bit more. But it's like vitamin D for me. I never go without. Magnesium is the next one. So here's what I would recommend, folks, is you might be thinking, well, why magnesium? Why do I want to take magnesium? Again, another Health First brand. You don't have to support Health First. You can go out and buy any brand you want. This is just the brand that I use. Again, I get a lot of my supplements at privately owned, high quality, independent health food stores. I typically do not get them from your typical grocery store or Walmart, even though they might be cheaper. But I can tell you the quality is going to typically be lower, and you're not going to get the best bang for your buck. If I have to spend a couple more bucks, I'm going to go with a higher quality brand. So magnesium is the 4th most abundant mineral in your body, so it's extremely important. And up to 80, I believe the last study I read, up to 86% of adults in North America are deficient in magnesium. Again, they're not getting the proper amount of foods that they're eating on a daily basis or even weekly basis that contain magnesium. So magnesium is involved in over 300 reactions in the body, and it's needed in many more bodily functions. It's extremely, extremely important, folks. If you don't have enough magnesium, the symptoms are too long for me to list here, but just keep in mind it is extremely important that magnesium be on your list. You want to have 250 to 400 milligrams a day. So in here, one pill or one serving size is 250. So typically what I'll do is I will have 2 a day. I'll have 500 milligrams a day. One thing I can tell you from personal experience is prior to me starting to use magnesium in 2016, my muscles ached after tough workouts, or if I was really stressed, my muscles would ache. I would just have constant muscle soreness or tension. Magnesium helps relieve the muscle tension and the muscle cramping. So if you're finding that you're very tight and you carry a lot of stress in your traps, try supplementing with magnesium. I guarantee you're going to notice a big difference. Magnesium also supports healthy blood pressure and heart health. So if you have higher blood pressure and you're not on magnesium, I would highly recommend it. It can alleviate PMS symptoms. So for you women out there that are having really bad time, during that time of the month, supplement with magnesium if you're not already, or start eating more foods that contain magnesium. And I'm going to go over that in a second here. Controls inflammation. So that's a big one. You've heard me talk about inflammation with omega-3. Magnesium also helps reduce inflammation and control it. It plays an important role in your metabolism of vitamin D. So again, the king supplement in my opinion. It can also be categorized as a hormone, vitamin D, but it helps metabolize your vitamin D. So if you're lacking in magnesium, it could hinder the amount of what vitamin D can do for you when it's in your body. And another big one for me with magnesium, it enhances your sleep. So one thing I can tell you is I started supplementing with a different form of magnesium, L-theanate, and it really, really helped me probably about 3 months ago. I started using that and some melatonin, another supplement. And the reason why it's important, folks, is you want to have a minimum of 6 hours, hopefully more, like 7.5 or 8 hours of uninterrupted sound sleep. And what was happening with me is I'd get up and toss and turn, and I know my wife really hates it, but I would toss and turn all night. Or if you have to get up, and even worse, you have to go to the bathroom, just standing up, or if you have to turn on a light, that's really going to disrupt your whole sleep patterns, or it's going to take longer to get back to sleep. And that can be a challenge for a lot of people. So if you want to have the luxury of sleeping through the night and sleeping sound and improving, your ability to recover, and you wake up refreshed in the morning, I would recommend start supplementing with magnesium. Now, the top 5 foods that have magnesium: dark chocolate, avocado, nuts such as almonds or Brazil nuts, beans, chickpeas, and seeds, chia seeds or pumpkin seeds. So dark chocolate being more than 72%. So don't think you can go and buy a candy bar. That's not going to cut it. It's got to be dark chocolate, 72%. So there you go, folks. Magnesium is another big one that I would highly recommend. Many, many benefits to taking magnesium. So we talked about vitamin D, we talked about omega-3, we talked about magnesium. Now we're going to talk about ketones. And the benefit of ketones is many things. When you have elevated blood ketone levels, it's very, very highly beneficial for your body. You don't have to follow a restrictive ketogenic diet when you have ketones in your blood. Now, I use this ketone supplement from the company called Prove It. And unlike some of the other supplements I already showed you, you do not want to get your ketones with any other product or any other company, except for Prove It. And the reason is because they have a patent on the technology. A lot of other companies, they're just copycats, whereas if you were to go and get, for instance, a vitamin D supplement, vitamin D3 from any reputable health food store, there's an abundance of D3 out there, whereas ketones are relatively new. I believe the concept was developed a little less than 6 years ago. So when you have ketones in your blood, it'll help reduce inflammation. You've probably heard me say inflammation before. It keeps coming up, and the reason why it's important, you want to be having a nutritional plan, or the food you're eating and the supplements you're taking, to help reduce your inflammation. So it helps reduce inflammation and prevents muscle soreness. So for those of you watching that are extremely active, or you've got athletic kids, ketones can help prevent muscle soreness. So you can go and crush yourself in a workout drink some ketones, put it in water, drink it, and you'll have less muscle soreness. Plus, once these ketones are in your blood and you're in a nutritional state of ketosis, it's 38% more oxygen efficient, meaning for an athlete that is critical. Meaning you can, say if you are a basketball player or a soccer player or a hockey player, you can go out there and exert yourself a little bit harder, knowing that you're 38% have more 30% oxygen efficiency. And so, especially compared to when your body is using carbs for fuel. So extremely, extremely important. The benefits of ketones are many. I'm just going to go through a few. Fast and sustained energy, much better than having harmful energy drinks that are really going to affect your heart or your brain or your health with all sorts of toxic chemicals and junk in it, sugar as well. Improves your mental focus and clarity, helps your strength and your endurance, which I've already talked about, helps decrease inflammation, another big one, and it's much better for recovery. So if you are someone who's extremely active, or you're a weekend warrior with say 5Ks or 10Ks or Spartan races or whatever, it allows your recovery to improve so you're not absolutely crushed come Monday morning. So again, this is what I use. I drink ketones. This is my wife's favorite flavor. I think Heart Tart is like a strawberry flavor. I prefer the Blue Ocean. It kind of tastes like pina colada. So that is it. That is all I will share with you folks on the topic of supplements. Now, again, I want to go back to the very beginning when I talked about the reason why we supplement is because we're not getting the adequate minerals, nutrients, vitamins from our whole foods that we're eating. And so if you are eating, say you're eating extremely organic and extremely clean, maybe you feel you don't need ketones or you don't need magnesium or you don't need omega-3, and that's fine, but you're still going to need vitamin D3. And if you're having more than 5,000 international units, you want to supplement, you want to have that with a K2. So other than that, folks, do not rely on supplements to turn your health around. It is called a supplement for a reason. Start with a foundation of having clean, organic, great nutritional foods that you're eating across the board, lean animal protein, humanely raised, organic veggies, a little bit of fruit, healthy fat. And if that's your foundation, then when you start supplementing, then it'll allow you to take your health to that next level. So I hope that was helpful. We'll talk to you again next time. Coach Glenn out. Have a great weekend, folks, and we'll talk to you again soon.